Welcome to Cooking with Jess. We have something fun today and not a lot of ingredients. If you're interested, like I'm interested in cutting carbs sometimes, but you want food that's flavorful, enter in the carb free rice and peas. So, what we're trying to do in eliminating the carbs, we're going to eliminate the rice and enter in quinoa. So we're going to flavor this like a kind of like a Jamaican rice and peas, but instead of using rice, we're substituting that for quinoa. So this is not a very intense like thing here that we're going to do. It's a side. You can pair this with any meal that you'd like a side for. We're going to get started while I chit chat about why sometimes I like to stay away from rice. I have found this has been on low for I think it was on one, but it feels like really warm. So I think we're just gonna get right into it. I'm first going to start with some. This is coconut milk, and that's gonna bring a lot of flavor. We have some kidney beans. We have one sprig of thyme, and then I have some scallion, aka green onion. I've always called it scallion my entire life, but others call it green onions. So we're going to start with, excuse me, with some coconut milk. So we're going to put this in here. We're going to warm it up. You heard that? The pot was ready to receive it, boy. It was ready. I'm going to put that in. And then we're going to, we're going to add some of the, we're going to add all of these kidney beans. Why am I going to say some? We're going to use all of it. All right, so with that, let's give it a little stir. And what we want to do is we want to get that coconut flavor, infuse that with the I'm going to turn it up because we should be bubbling. Like I said, it's really warm. I don't want to touch the pot because I know it's hot. I don't think it's very hot, but we want to bring that up because we want it to start to boil. And then we're going to add a little salt, and then we're going to place the thyme, and then we're going to place the scallion just right on top because we want the flavor to soak in. You could use a what's that thing called? It's like a little rope, a butcher's twine to tie all this together. Meaning these in particular, tie these together so that they don't. We're not mixing that in with the beans, but we want that flavor, but we want to be able to take it out. So if you have it, I don't, but I'm just going to place it on top, and then we're going to cover it, and we're going to let that cook. So that's what we'll do while I tell you about why sometimes I don't like to eat rice. I remember there was a time where it wasn't on purpose necessarily, but I just changed how I ate, when I ate, and I think that was it. It wasn't how much at the time, but it was when I ate and how I ate, right? And I noticed after that time, I started to read. I started to incorporate back like my regular foods. I never realized, I never realized how much rice I ate. I now understand, like in my latter years, like rice is a staple in Caribbean cooking, specifically in Panamanian cooking. So majority, if you're not eating a pasta, which is not often really, it's rice and something. So it's just always something that even to this day I keep in the house. But when I started to reincorporate that back into my diet, oh wow, right here and right here. That's immediately where, especially here, that's immediately where it went. So as I am continuing to learn, Lord knows I don't know that much, but I'm very intentional about learning about food, specifically what certain things do to you, what the benefits are, what the not so good things are. And, you know, I think because of the fact that I just grew up with it, it's just like, it's just part of, that's dinner, right? I don't really take too much stock into like, this is a carbohydrate. Like at the time, like what is a carbohydrate? But so now I'm looking into this a carbohydrate. And I don't really like work out. Well, that's not my thing. I'm not the person that's in the gym. I've tried it. I've done okay for like this amount of time when I did do it. But that just, I mean, why am I gonna act like this is part of my, it's just not, it's not, I, yeah, it's just not. So because of that, and as I'm getting older, food does different things to me. As I mentioned before, food is doing a lot of different things to me. And certain things I don't like. I mean, we're getting older, right? So there's nobody in this world. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. You're going to change. Hopefully for the better. I would think that's everyone's goal. I would hope so. I would like to think so. But yeah, I mean we can't change that. We cannot change. We can probably do things that's going to help to influence what kind of change happens, but ultimately time is going to keep moving, right? We're going to get older. That's just what it is. Now, as I'm talking, I'm checking. I did not forget about what was going on here. I'm checking to see what is going on here. Now, the interesting thing about this is this pot felt so, it's really, now it's starting to steam. I can see it now. I want it to get to a bubble. We're going to go ahead and flip this bad boy up to max, because I want this to bubble before I add in the thyme and the scallion, so that it's going to just start to pull all that flavor into the habichuelas or the beans, right? That's the goal. As you know, or maybe you don't know, maybe this is your first time watching, I prefer to start cooking or cook with beans from their original dried state. That's what I did with these. So I took a small amount, like a fourth of a cup of the dried red kidney beans, and I let it soak in water overnight, and they just plumped up. They woke up like, oh, so this is what we're doing now. Yes, this is what we're doing now. So they plumped up, and then I put them in my Instapot. In the Instapot, we pressure cooked it. Excuse me, we pressure cooked it so that it would just bring back all the life into it and soften up that bean. So these beans, they're ready, right? This is not a method of trying to cook it. We just want to infuse these flavors. So the aceite de coco is in. No, aceite de coco. I'm sorry. We put in the coconut milk. So leche de coco, coconut milk. So that's in there, and then eventually when we get to the thyme and the scallion, it's also going to draw in all that wonderful stuff into the habichuelas, and then we're going to add in our quinoa, put the top on, and chill. There's nothing else that we need to add to this. We just wait. And what I mean by wait, you figure out something else to do. I don't know if you got other things going on in your world, but she does. So while this is sitting here and with the quinoa in it and everything, and we have the top on, we do not pick it up 6, 7, 12 times, because we are not pot watchers, and we do not want to break up what all that wonderful trapped heat is doing to the quinoa, because we want it to soften it. We want it to open it up. I learned just from reading the package that there's these little, like, if you've cooked quinoa before, I think you'll know what I'm explaining. But when you cook quinoa, one of the ways that you know it's ready is like this little, like, this little like tail comes out of it. It's an interesting look. Let me just I tell you. But you get this little tail that comes out. That's called a germ ring. Why? I I don't know why that's what it's called, but that's what it's called. So when that comes out, that's one of the indicators that it's ready. If you want to taste it, which that's what I do, I'm tasting because I need to know what flavors, like what do I need more of. Most of the time, not what I need less of because I'm adding little by little as I go. So that's what I'm going for, right? If it's like, oh, okay, it's not this pearl that's you you can't crunch, you can't bite down on it because it's too hard. You want it to be softened, and then you want to see that little like germ ring. We'll call it. We'll use the appropriate term for that. So we got bubbles over here, and we got rapidly moving bubbles. This is not like a little bloop bloop bloop. No, no, no. This is rapidly moving bubbles. So I think it's safe enough. I think it's safe enough for us to go ahead and put in this. I would taste it, but I want to taste it with the thyme. So we're just going to drop it just like this. We're going to leave it on top. I don't want to move it around because I'm not trying to disturb nothing. I'm just going to cut off this part here. I'll speak to this in a second why I cut it off there. And then I'm going to try to just a small little bend and drop it in because I don't want to disturb it too much. Again, we want to fish this out before we put our quinoa in. So ever so gently, I'm just going to just give it a little assistance and push it down into the leche de coco concoction that's going on. That aroma already is hitting. Like, you've been waiting for something. I'm here. All right, so I'm gonna cover it, and we're just gonna let this go for. I'm not even listen like 2 minutes, not like a whole, not a whole thing, but while we maybe a little more than 2 minutes. I feel like 2 minutes is not gonna do much. It's still gonna break down the it's gonna break down the thyme and it's gonna break down the scallion. But if we can get a little bit more out of it, why not? Like let's get as much flavor as possible. So I cut it right here because I like to take this part and just drop it in. When I tell you like the ever slightest amount of water in a very shallow dish, or if you have a really small container, like a glass container, I'm trying to think of to give you an example of like what small, hmm, something tiny like if you buy capers and they come in a small little glass container, just when I tell you just to like kiss it, that's it. You don't want it to just sit in water. Unfortunately, I have experienced that one too many times. What happens is, the roots want water, but most importantly, it wants air. So if it's sitting in there, it's just going to turn into this mushy mess. And the worst part about it is the odor. So I like to watch it grow because it does regrow. And I think this, when we get down to like my son keeps telling me he's learned in school recently about using the seeds of fruits and replanting them. So he has asked that we plant something. And okay, I like plants. I do. Uh, this whole like we're gonna grow a garden of what I don't know, but I'm with it. I think it's a fun experience. Now remember, we're not turning too much. We're not stirring too much because we don't want to disrupt. We do not want to disrupt the time. But I just want to check to make sure everything is going well. And I'm smelling that thyme strong. I like thyme. It's not a herb that I used to cook with a lot. And then this wonderful gentleman, a family friend, was explaining to me why I'm living this horrible life and I need to get my life together and I need to incorporate time because it's just wonderful. But I don't know, it's just something that I don't really I think I think that with thyme in particular, the herb, that I just associate it with like meat flavors, or like it should be paired with. That's just my assumption. But I've been putting it in rice, which now as I'm saying that, I'm remembering my mother uses it very often when she makes rice. And I always tell her, oh, I love your rice. I always tell her that when she comes to visit. I always ask her, can you please make rice and then leave it in the freezer for us so that we can enjoy it even in your absence. And yeah, but for me, it's just something that I didn't use it often. I'm using it a lot more often now. And as you can see, I use a fresh time, the spring is not the dried. I use the dried. I just happened to go to my ethnic grocer recently, and they had it right next to culantro, and because it was there, I saw it and I'm like, you know what, why not use the fresh? I know personally, basil to me, when it's dried versus fresh basil, it's a huge difference. So why wouldn't that be the same for me when it comes to the fresh one? So that's why I picked it up. And I'm already so glad that I did that. Listen, these bubbles are ferocious, okay? So I think we're good because I don't want it to like melt away. I don't want the, I don't want the beans, because as I said before, the beans they're already cooked. They are cooked. I just wanted to marry that leche de coco and the thyme and the scallion. I wanted it to all get married nice and together. So I'm going to turn this down. So we were at max. I'm going to turn this down to 4, which is still relatively high. And then I'm going to lift out this thyme. See that? It's still intact, as well as the scallion. And then we're going to add the quinoa to it. And I've already rinsed the quinoa, and it's draining. You'll see it shortly. I'll pull it. I'll pull it in front so you can see it. What's lurking, lurking in the background. And we're going to add that, and I'm going to put the top on and turn it on. Ooh, I love. One of the things I remember so vividly about rice and peas, right? Like having this for Sunday dinner, because that's traditionally when we have this. And that kind of like reddish brown flavor that it gives to the rice. And I already see it in I can already see how it's transforming the color of the leche de coco, where it's giving it like this reddish, kind of like purplish kind of color. So I want to make sure I get as much now, because it's wet still. It's sticking to my colander. I call it strainer, but we'll use the correct term. We'll use that today. But yeah, if you hear me say strainer, this is exactly what I'm speaking about. This is one of the ones I'm speaking about, at least. So yeah, we want to get that in there. You want to bubble all that flavor into the quinoa. Man, I can't wait to taste this. You see, I'm still scraping. Listen. Habits. Hard to break. Look, even even the pot is like bubbling. Like, girl, if you don't put this top on, you worrying about these last two. It's not gonna change the world. But she still scrapes. Oh gosh, we're gonna work on that. We're gonna work on that. Because really, this is what I'm trying to like. This is gonna change the whole. This is gonna change the amount that the end amount. It's not. It's not gonna change it. All right, so I'm gonna do that one more time. Just one rotation. Okay, got some scrapes. Because I got to scrape. No, but there's some. I want to get some of that froth of the leche de coco and the quinoa. I want to get that off the side because some of them are on the side. I'm gonna put this back in. Again, since I'm not rotating or doing anything. I just want to get as much flavor as possible out of this thyme and this. Yes, I'm scraping again. You see it. Get as much out as possible. helping it down, just assisting it just a little bit, just so it, again, all that flavor comes out. All right, let's put this top on. Let's put the top on. All right, so I'm gonna drop it. We are currently at level 4. We're gonna bring it down to 2. We know that the liquid is going to thicken because of the fact that the quinoa is going to expand. And what I don't want to happen is that it absorbs so much of the liquid that now it has no liquid and it's going to stick to the bottom and burn. We don't want that. We don't want that. That'll be a sad day. So I'm just looking at it. This pot has a clear top, so I can see without being a pot watcher. I don't have to keep doing that. Yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy this view. But yeah, so I was thinking about, since he wants to do this whole, like, we're gonna plant things. We started saving some apple seeds and butternut squash seeds. I highly doubt that these apples are gonna grow where I live. I don't even think we have a shot. Butternut squash maybe, but I have to do a little bit of research on it because I'm not sure, like, based off of the region or the zone. I think it's based off of zones, like the zone we live in, if butternut squash has a chance. And then most importantly, if we put that responsibility in my hands to love and care and cherish this butternut squash seeds, I don't know if we want all that pressure. But listen, I'm willing to try. He's interested. I want to do that with him. I know he'll remind me so to water it and whatever else we need to do. So, like, let's try it. But we should also try this because, as I said, I always put it in water, but I've never actually, like, planted it. And I have seen before, like, if you put this, like, in shallow soil, that it will continue to sprout as long as you water it, but not overwater it, because again, the roots want air and it wants water. It needs both of them to grow, and we see the roots, right? So it's a nice project, and I actually reuse it. So once it grows, they never grow as full, like as wide as they were before. For whatever, I mean, maybe I'm just not giving it enough sun. That's a possibility, or I'm not giving it enough sun, water, and air mixture. Like, again, this is why this is a very interesting territory for me to try to grow things. I think plants are wonderful. I really do. I aspire one day to have, like, these 48 different plants just thriving in my home. I have a few, and if I had to put a number on it, I would say probably about, let's see, wow, that's being a little bit generous. Let's say about 60% of them are thriving. Then I have an aloe, and the aloe had pups. And why do I know this is called pups? I looked it up because my mother has this beautiful, thriving aloe. She lives in the tropics, so that's not where I live. So I don't expect to have the same experience. But she's had this for, I don't even know how many years she's had this particular aloe. Anyhow, before her last move, she, gave me a plant, and it grew little pups or baby aloes, right? And it's like all these little offshoots, and it's wonderful, but they're never that big. So now I've replanted the little pups. They're all these maga looking plants. Maga means, like, very skinny. Usually, like, use that word to describe a person, like a very, I don't want to say petite, but a very, very, very slender person, right? Very, very slim. So anyway, yeah, so they grow, they have the little pups, and then they're just all, like, small. And then when I go visit her and I see this this thing thriving. It's like busting out and she has these huge planters that they're in, ceramic planters, busting out the pots and all this. And then I struggle to keep it in like something like, I don't know, like, is that like 4 inches pots or something? Struggle. Like I have to have multiple pups that have all these little, like, they have, the little, I want to say they're called stems. I'm not really sure what you call like the offshoots, but they don't even stick up. They're like lean. It's just so, I did a little bit of research and I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe it's because number one, I learned off the bat, you're ODing with the water. Stop giving it. You can't put the plants, because I have different types, right? You can't put all the plants on. Today is Tuesday and we're gonna just water everything. That's what I was doing for years. That works wonderfully for my pothos. I have a lot of those, and I tend to propagate those a lot. I don't know why I love propagating these, because I don't like uh, maybe because they're indoor plants. Maybe that's the difference, right? Like I'm okay with the indoor plants. This whole like going outside and trying to create this whole oasis of lush greenery. It's appealing, but no. So, so what I'm seeing here is that the level of liquid has come down. I can still see the bubbles. They're not as rapid, and they're not as many. They're just like boop, 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 boop. So like 5, 6 spots where I'm seeing it. And I just wanted to chill. This is not rice, so I don't need to like fluff it, but I do want to make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to. And I believe it is, because I can see the bubbles. I can still see that there is like a layer of, or that the water is just above the quinoa. I could see some of the habichuela, just two poking out. So we're still getting that flavor coming in from the thyme. We're getting that flavor coming in from the scallion. Of course, the leche de coco. All of that wonderful stuff is coming in. And we're going to let it continue to do what it's going to do. So with the whole like the watering thing, right? So over watering these these poor aloe. So that was number one. We're going to replant, repot. We're going to change also the sun. I get a lot of sun in my house, but I learned I get indirect. I don't get like what I think is like bright, bright, bright sun. So I move them and I'm not watering them nearly as much. And I noticed that there's some of them are starting to like actually like they're standing straight up as opposed to bending over. And the smallest one that I have has now like 2 little friends that have come out, but it's not rooting. And I don't know that particular one with the 2 little friends that's coming out. It's not rooting. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but those are the ones that are struggling. And then I have a mother-in-law's tongue. I forget what like that's the common name for, but I don't remember like the special fancy name for it. That one was doing wonderfully. Wonderfully. I bought 3 separate ones and I planted them together when my big boy was, I want to say he was 1. He was 1. And it's been going lovely until I looked up what they're supposed to look like. They grow, right? They're fine. They're growing, but they're so slender. Not MAGA, but they're slender as far as like what I see online, what they could look like. And then here enters in the baby. The baby has this, I don't know what is drawing her to this one particular plant. It's not the plant, it's the soil. She's just, I gotta get my fingers in this dirt. Ugh. And I'm like, sweetness, let me tell you something. First of all, this is a whole lot of mess. Number 2, your hands in her hair, on her clothes. I've moved this plant. I not moved it out of sight, just in a different location. Very like in a not too far from where it was already. And then I put like some white rocks over the top of the soil so that she couldn't mess with it, and that helped for a while. And the plant was doing okay. I had to actually separate the 3. I took 1 out because it just I don't know what has been happening with her in this plant. But that one now that it's by itself, and I learned also it's in that same aloe family. It's a succulent. I was just overwatering it. So once I stopped doing that, gave it a new home, made sure that the soil was compact. You know, I'm going on and on about plants. I don't know if anybody else has like this thing about indoor plants too, but I want that. Like I said, I aspire to have this 40 some odd, like little cutesy little plants and maybe some vines and stuff. If you're interested, let me know. If not, listen, just let me know. But I, yeah, that one that's by itself doing marvelously. I'm not gonna just jump out the window and say, oh yeah, it's growing like these thick blades, but it looks so healthy. These other two that were left in the container by themselves. First of all, she went right back in and with the I don't know I don't know, because I'm not there when it's happening. I just like come down the steps and she'll stop, and then I'll see like some speckle of soil or something, or perlite. I also had to look up what that was. And I'm just like, what is this in your? Oh, and I look around and I see what she was doing. We're gonna. Ooh, that's hot though. Hold on, let's get a pot holder. This is number one. Okay. Oh, it's thick, baby. But we're gonna move slow, not fast. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We picked it up at the right time. And that's because nothing's sticking, but that liquid is like, it's almost gone. It's almost gone. Ooh. Yeah, I smell all type of goodness. We're gonna shut this off. Most importantly, we're gonna switch burners. This one was off, so we don't want it to keep cooking. And we're gonna gently lift out this sprig of thyme. Do not be alarmed when it comes out. It has the froth of the leche de coco on it. You see? Can you see that color? You see how? So it was more on the white side. Now it's like that, almost maybe like a lavender. Maybe that's a better description of the color. And that's all from the froth, right? And then we're gonna take out these scallion because we don't need all this. We'll just fish it out. We don't need this in here. This has nothing to do with the texture of the quinoa or the habichuelas. Nothing at all. So we'll just take it out. And I'm losing quinoa, and I'm not happy about it. So I'm gonna try to scrape it off. But it smells delicious. It smells like what I would expect rice and peas would smell like. There we go. I think I got everybody. Final looks. Just moving slowly because I don't want to disturb too much. And I see that little like wormy thing, the germ ring. I see that. Yep. Oh my. My. All right. So we're gonna plate this up. Oh yeah, I see the little germ ring. I'll see if I can get one. I can get one out so you can see it. They're very small. They're very small. You don't even taste it. But that aroma, man. I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Let me get a little plate. Let's see. All right. So I'm going to try to see. We're just tasting, right? We're not doing anything other than tasting. So there's a tiniest little germ ring right there on the habichuela. Can you see that tiny little thing sticking out? That's one of the indicators that we know the quinoa is ready. Not crunchy. First thing I taste, boom, leche de coco. Second thing, boom, thyme. Listen, there's no need for rice and peas. Try the quinoa. You don't like quinoa? Try farro. There's so many different. Try fonio. Try that. Mix it in there. Get rid of the rice. Try it. I'm scraping it not because I'm trying to be extra. It's because it just tastes, it tastes like rice and peas. It really does. I'm done. Let me stop it. Sorry. I'm trying. It's really good. It's packed with flavor. You should try it. Let me know what you think. I know what I think, but I like to know what you think. All right, guys. Thank you for stopping by. See you in the next one.